So you can see that I'm inside a meeting room right now, but there's no one right here. So now let's see how we can utilize the waiting room feature inside of Zoom. So I'm just going to join in from my mobile phone right over here. And now the waiting room is turned on by default. So I've turned on for this particular lesson as well. So I'm just going to enter out with my mobile phone right over here. And then you'll see in the participants that it'll turn into 2. And over here now it says guest 123 has entered the waiting room for this meeting. So without the host admitting the guest, they cannot enter the meeting room. So you can see the waiting room right over here, just like this, as you can see. And as I admit, now only they can join in the meeting room right over here. So this is a useful feature to have, especially if you are hosting a public meeting and you do not want many people to join in by mistake. So let me just end this and see how we can enable or disable the feature, because sometimes this feature can be quite annoying, especially if you're like having an informal meeting, or if you're sure that you haven't shared your link to the ones who are not trusted. So I'm going to go over here onto the meeting section right over here, and if you're using your personal ID, you can set the waiting room feature right over here from the PMI settings right over here. So once you go into PMI settings, you can see right here that the enable waiting room feature is actually turned on as of now. So let me just turn this off, and I'm going to click on save right here. And as I press new meeting now, it'll start up the new meeting, but the waiting room feature has been disabled now. So what I can do is, let me just join with computer audio. If I were to join in now, so I'm just going to join in with my mobile phone again. So I'm just joining in right over here. And you can see here that there's 2 participants. There's no prompt whatsoever. So I'm going to go to participants right over here, and if you want to re-enable or disable the waiting room feature right from inside the meeting, you can go over here onto this 3 dot right over here, and here you can enable the waiting room again. So it says you have enabled the waiting room. You can even go over here and disable the waiting room over here itself, just like that. So this is the waiting room feature right over here. Let me just end the meeting for all right over here. So once I do that, you see that there's the enable waiting room and disable right over here. You can also enable and disable it while you're scheduling the meeting right over here from the advanced options, where you have an option to enable the waiting room itself. You can also enable the waiting room and disable the waiting room in your account settings in the zoom.us website. So I'm in the website right over here. So let me just go into my account right over here, and then I'm going to go into my settings right over here. And in settings, let's go to the settings right over here from the basics. So over here, you'll be able to see the waiting room feature right over here. So maybe in the advanced right over here, there's the breakout room. There's like waiting room right over here, as you can see right over here. When participants join a meeting, you can turn this entirely off by default as well. So whenever you start a meeting, the waiting room is turned off by default. So these are the ways on how you can enable and disable the waiting room and utilize the waiting room feature inside of Zoom. So I hope you guys learned something as always, and as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.